Hey everyone, James Henderson. Welcome to this presentation on grading feedback. Thank you to everyone for taking the time to examine this topic further. I know that for many instructors that grading can be time consuming, so hopefully this presentation will help your effort to be effective and efficient. On a topic like grading, it can't be, hey, look at me and this is what I do, but rather, hey, look at we as in our team of faculty. So thank you to all the instructors who helped provide some examples and supported this effort. Many instructors, it's been a while since you've been a student in a classroom. And I want you to think about this perspective. What if you were a student in your own classroom right now? Would you be nervous in receiving the feedback from your instructor? Would you be eagerly awaiting that feedback? Would you want to receive your feedback in a timely manner? And what would be the tone and specific direction you'd want to receive from your instructor? Because as an instructor, you are essential in shaping that student experience by providing specific, timely, substantive, and personalized feedback. It's one of the ways that we can support, empower, and motivate our students to perform at their best. And before we dig into some sample feedback, I wanted to share this bonus idea for efficiency. Dr. Depew had emailed me her Excel feedback bank. She's taught this course multiple times and knows the feedback commonality with each assignment. And she can easily personalize each feedback example to a specific student. And if you notice down here on the bottom, each weekly assignment has its own separate page. And as we start to look at some faculty examples, I'll just be highlighting a couple of things, but you can certainly pause and take a closer look at any time. And in this outstanding feedback, we can see feedback is provided throughout the grading rubrics. And for privacy, I've blanked out the student's name, but you can see this feedback is personalized to the student. And we see down here it says, see my feedback in the paper. And we know that feedback is oftentimes, comments are inserted within the Turnitin platform. Sometimes we insert comments on the Word document and reattach it to our feedback, and other times we may email it back to the student. And if we look a little closer here, it says, as well suggesting strategies to work around these conditions, which is so important in this field. Again, connecting it back to the profession. And in this example, the instructor shows a very positive tone, wants to encourage the student to think more critically, sharing what that student needed to do and some examples to maximize their points in this section. Good job. And within that feedback, letting that student know how they could have achieved the next section for exemplary. We see here providing illustrations, examples, explanations, and this is fantastic based on your chosen area in the field of psychology. Again, connecting back to that career field. And here the instructor does a great job with intellectual presence, asking the student to review the historical timelines, providing content information, and finishing up with a probing question to help, further student learning and curiosity. And here's a great instructional presence example. You'll see the instructor says, for instance, you could have provided something like this, and provides a external resource to support your points about sample size. Great job. And in this example, a student lost some points for APA, but the instructor added an external learning resource to help prevent that for future papers. And earlier we talked about how important tone is in feedback. And in this example, a student lost some points in engagement, but this is fantastic tone. You're on the right path with peer responses. I'd encourage you to incorporate more class information though. So for example, where you tell Carrie she should incorporate other schools, great advice. Now just take it a step further and talk about why that would help her experiment. That helps demonstrate knowledge for you. It can also help your peer click with the information. Fantastic. And this is fantastic feedback in regards to articulation of response where the student lost some points. Instructor writes, please find my feedback in the rubric and in the Turnitin report. Over here he says you'll see small blue boxes throughout the paper. These are comment boxes and contain specific information. And he goes on, simply click the box to read the feedback. And we know we don't have to put every single error within our rubric elements. Some instructors choose to put it on the paper. It's a great way where the student can see exactly where they lost those points. And each of you are content experts in your field, and it's a pleasure and fun to see that within the feedback, or the instructor does it here and also finish it up with a very positive comment with minimal improvement. This is a solid A submission. Very motivating. And we'll finish out looking at a few general feedback comments. Here the instructor personalizes the general feedback. I like this. Please see my feedback in the individual rubric criterion sections. Outstanding. But also reminds the student to review the course announcements, where this instructor provided an entire announcements on tips for discussion forums, and also said reach out to me directly if you need any additional guidance. Outstanding example of some general feedback. And in this general feedback, you'll see again personalized to the student, gives a synopsis of what's in those rubric elements. And I like this addition. I haven't seen this. You were graded on the following, and provide some bullet points from that assignment rubric. And lastly, one of my general feedback sections, similar to many instructors, I'll provide an overview from those rubric elements. One thing that I like to do is always take something out of that student's paper that I thought was really well. Sometimes it's a paragraph, sometimes it's a few sentences, but usually it's their original content, and I'll paste it in there, just letting them know I like this statement, and it really demonstrates that I'm reading their papers. And our next couple of slides are just tips for enhancing that feedback. Always personalize it when possible. Share those relevant resources when you can, and highlight those specific examples to help students improve. And this slide is sharing some additional enhancement, and I'll let you pause through if you'd like to. Again, just additional tips for you. And on this last slide, it's feedback reflection. To think about, have I given the student feedback that's going to help them get to the next step? Will the students know I read their paper and care about their success? Have I used language that'll motivate and encourage? And is my feedback clear, specific, and actionable? And once again, thank you to our distinguished faculty for helping to support this presentation. And if anybody has any questions regarding grading feedback, please reach out to me. I'm happy to help.